Right, so day 2 of the build. This is the tractor as it was left last night. So last night it was stripped down to the chassis, but we put the steering column tower back on and this rear fender just to kind of get an idea, take a couple of measurements. Today, big day planned, like we've got the heavy hitters out. We're going to do a lot of work to the rear end. We're going to mount the back axle and with any luck build a little frame that goes in under here, which will kind of house it'll support the back axle. It'll house the T-drive, the 90-degree drive, and it'll also kind of support this piece because the previous brace for the rear fender was completely rotten, had to be cut out. So we'll build a stronger one because it's also going to get bounced around like fuck as well. I'm going to be sitting on it, like, so it may as well be strong, like. I ain't getting any lighter. So first things first, we're going to take this back off. We're also going to rip the front axle off it altogether, strip it down to the 2 bare chassis wheels, and start doing a little prep work and some welding on that there. So, right, I'll get started. Right, here's the chassis. It's stripped down. There is still a center brace right there holding the two chassis legs together. We're going to leave that in just for the moment while I explain what we're going to do with the back end of this. So these 3 bolts here were the original bolts where the transaxle mounted. So the transaxle sat about here, and what I want to do is I want to put this rear axle here. So I've got this go-kart rear axle there. I want to mount it, but it needs to be right in the center of that there. I'll get these big axle bearings here, big boys. They're going to sit about there. But what I want to do, so I can take the axle in and out, so I'll have a hole here, but I'm actually going to cut it right through to the bottom. So when I need to take the axle out, I can drop it out from below. So when we clean these 2 up, I'm going to have cut the hole and the slot right through, but then you're going to need to reinforce that. So we're going to get a big piece of plate, weld that to it, cut that same profile and slot out, and the plate will form part of the brace for it. There'll also be some uprights here, another upright directly above it, or a diagonal. It may end up actually being a diagonal, and then we're going to have a bit of a structure at the front here to take the right angle drive, which will all be right underneath my arse. So yeah, strip the rest of it apart and start cleaning all this rust and crap off it. Right, so here's the two chassis wheels cleaned up, and I've actually just set them. They're a mirror image of one another, so I'm just setting it over the top here, and right there's where we want that back axle. I'm going to put a little teeny tiny hole, like 2 mil, something like that there, right through to show the center line, and it'll go through, transfer onto that back one, and then we take them apart. Then these pieces here I've actually salvaged off the mower deck assembly. You know, you wouldn't use that again, but it is a valuable source of just steel. So when we get the little hole put in there, then we can start welding this onto here, and that's going to form the brace to strengthen after we cut the big U section out of it. So that's going to be the initial strengthening. So I'll hammer on with that. So we get these two bits here, drill a little teeny tiny hole through to both of them, so that'll work. That'll give me a reference for the centre point of the axle. Got these wee pieces here, cut them down to size. I'm going to set them on there. They have a couple of little holes in them there. We'll actually be able to use those to weld through, put 3 spots in to hold it in place. Same on the other side. And then we'll run a tack on the underside along there and a tack along the top. Yeah, and then flip the whole thing over. Use that little hole that we drilled to drill through, and then start the pattern from this side here. Cut the big U slot. So we'll do that there then. This is what happens when a wasp flies around my fucking face when I'm using an angle grinder. That's right, son, you get swiped out of the sky with a fucking angle grinder. Fuck you and your stingy ass. Right, so here's the back of the chassis. So we've got this piece on here, just braces the thing a little bit, and this is where the bearing mount is going to go. I got there. However, what I need to do is cut kind of a big U shape there. And what that means is if I need to take the axle off for any reason, I can just slide the axle with the bearing mount straight up from the underneath and then just bolt it into place. Otherwise, what you'd need to do is you'd need to slide the axle out through a hole, and with all the stuff that ends up on the axle, you know, you get your hubs, and you've got your disc carrier and your sprocket carrier and all that shite, like, and it just becomes a whole fiasco. So transferred little pilot holes across. I'm going to bore them out to 10 and a half, and then this yoke here I bore it out to 6, and then use the hole saw on it, cut the hole, and then just take the rest of the slots out with a grinder. Right, she's sitting with her back axle now. Get the back axle in place. Both sides we've got the bearing mount. They're just dummied in there with 2 bolts. But the axles, it needs a wee spacer just between the bearing housing there and that there flange, just to let the bearing move a bit easier. And we've also added these 2 uprights as well. Just flip it on its end. So there's it's on its end. 2 rails just put back in place. Starting to weld this structure now in the back there to support the upper bodywork. So that's the first element of it in. But the next job we're going to do is actually work out how much of the side of the fender we need to cut out. How much of the side of the fender? We're going to work out how much of the side of the fender we need to cut out in order to fit the 15-inch tires. So that's the next thing. I'm going to do that now. Alright, one of the things that we'll encounter is the wheel's going to be running right up, right close into here. So this piece here, we're going to need something cut away to allow for the wheel. Now, the wheel's a 15-inch diameter wheel, so half of that, the radius is 7.5. So we get this piece of rope, put it around the axle. Get from the centre point of the axle. This is obviously easy. So right there, that's 7.5. You have the pen, and that should give you clearance then for 7.5, but only. So we'll open it up a little bit more, take it to 8. So it's about there. And then what we'll do is cut away to that there. and then that should mean that the tyre won't foul on the bodywork. Pro tip. Okay, so at the end of day 2, you can see what we've got through the list. So far we've stripped the tractor, built the new rear axle mount. Sunday's going to be, we're taking tomorrow off, but Sunday's going to be the front axle. And those kind of yokes there, those 3 boys there. Try and get that done on Sunday and Monday. And then work my way through the rest of this crap. It's a pretty important one there. And there's 14 days to go. But at the moment, it doesn't look too bad. Got that back axle in. The tyre eventually got onto the rim. We got about an inch of clearance between the tyre and the mudguard there. It actually has to come. I'm waiting on a different axle for it. That's the axle off the Super Bastard. And that's just mocked up. We're gonna have a front, the track rod's on the front of the axle. So I'm just working out what way the Ackerman will work with that there. And yeah, this is the height it will sit at. It'll be this low, so it should be not the worst to handle. It should be alright. Not bad for a day stripping it down and a day building it back up. We're here already, like, so I'm happy enough. Right now for nice wee 20 piece. What day is this? This is Sunday, I know. Today's job, front axle and probably Nerf bars. Get 2 big welding jobs out of the way when I've got the most time to do it. T-drive still hasn't arrived yet, so there's no point really worrying too much about that there. So that was kind of the tail end of the framework that was going to go on the back of the thing. So I'm not worried about that. We'll get the front end sorted and started, and then the Nerf bars, which will be kind of side impact protection bars that will go around the side here, and then there'll be a plate onto them. But yeah, that's today's work. Kieran's racking the caddy. Loves it. Loves it. Right, get some work done. We're just going to make the front axle. The front axle needs to be about the same width as the back axle. So what I have here is, that's one of the old bastard front axles, and it's going to show how we're going to build the axle. We'll let it out of the way. Also, we'll get some of the bits that have come for it. So this actually come for the Super Bastard, but because of the tight deadline on this piece, we're going to use these here. So that's your steering knuckle. This plate here is the same as that there, so that would kind of effectively go there and swivel to give you your steering. What we need to do is work out how long this beam has to be here in order to give this 3 foot, that's 915 mil track width. So, right, we're gonna calculation wood here. So we start off 914, that's in millimeters what it wants to be, divided by 2, so we're only working with half the axle to start off with. You take away 20 to account for any camber, there. Alright, so take away 20 for the camber. You take away 65 for the dish of the wheel. So the wheel's, that flange sits 65 millimeters inboard from the outside edge. You take away 50 for the little hub that fits on there, that goes in there, so there's 50 mil gap there. Take away 40 for here to there, and that gives you 282 times 2 is 564, and that's where we're going to cut the beam to. And relax. That took me a long time to do that too. Oof. Fuck you, science. Right, so we're gonna take this old bastard front axle, cut the triangulation off it and remove this pin. So we basically have this this beam with this that's the wee mount for the steering knuckle. We'll chop these off as well and add the new ones a bit further inboard. Now what we're going to have to do here, this is the engine mount, and if you see, the engine mount's really close to the front of the tractor, the front of the chassis. That is going to bolt right on there. So there's no space behind the axle for the track rods. So the track rods are going to need to go on the front. If you look inside as well, this is the big pulley we've got. There definitely is no space for any track rods on the inside. So them track rods are going to have to go on the front, which we'll come to later on. It's going to have the track rods on the front Ackerman. Right, build it again.